Hello and welcome to this IBC 365 Roundtable. I'm Mark Smith and we're talking convergence today, looking at the accelerating pace of change in the media, entertainment, technology, telecoms sectors. The lines that once separated these key players between mobile, fixed, public service broadcasters, pay TV and OTT, between social media and traditional media, print and digital, for example, are blurring. And companies that once only offered technology and distribution are now getting into content. What does this all mean, especially for the telcos, and how do they adapt to maintain relevance with 5G mobile on the horizon and new media innovation coming at pace? AI, VR, cloud capabilities, as well as HDR, UHD, 4K and beyond. We'll also be looking ahead to IBC in September and what the key themes and topics might be for the telcos as this industry charts a course from 4G to 5G. Joining me today, I'm delighted to welcome Paolo Pescatori, a thought-leading media and telecoms analyst and industry commentator. Welcome, Paolo. We have Christian Harris, Head of Digital Entertainment with the International Mobile Network 3. Welcome, Christian. Matt Stagg, many of you will know, an industry evangelist. He was with EE for some time. He's now Head of Mobile Strategy for BT Sport. And of course, to give us the perspectives and the context from the content provider, a major disruptive content provider, Duke in Media. Welcome, Jean Coffey.
Hello. Thanks,
guys, for joining us. We'll start with you, Paolo, and you follow this space. You are a telecoms media entertainment analyst. Tell us what you're seeing in terms of the big picture globally around convergence, some of the key developments that we've seen, particularly in the US, but also with some of the big broadcasters and telcos.
How long do we have, Mark? Because there's so much going on. It's an absolute exciting time. You know, Netflix has paved the way for many players in the marketplace. Everyone's looking to jump on the bandwagon. Video quite firmly is the next battleground, and we've seen it. And if you look, you know, some of the moves that you're alluding to, I guess, with AT&T, Time Warner, what's going on in terms of the love triangle for Sky, the 21st Century Fox assets in particular with Disney and Comcast now coming to the party. Obviously on this side as well, there's a frenzy of activity. Telcos are starting to get really serious about content and particularly moves in the TV space. And there's an opportunity for everyone to be novel, whether they need to go out there and acquire premium content rights, differentiate through sports, BT. Telefonica have just recently won La Liga rights in Spain. So, there are opportunities there. Original content as well, but fundamentally it's a great time to be a content and media owner right now, and the value firmly resides in great storytelling.
So, I mean, do you think we're going to see more consolidation, either amongst the telcos themselves or between telcos and either content providers or broadcasters and others?
Essentially both, and I think for the telcos, essentially they need to compete and have scale. Any pure play provider, regardless of whether you're mobile only, fixed only or video only, you're not going to compete when the market is moving down to a handful of players. And we're seeing the importance of vertical integration. And when you take a telco today, how can they differentiate beyond connectivity alone? How low can they go on price? And I think the important part of that is going to be content. So there's still some plays amongst the telco world in terms of getting closer together. And beyond that as well, you're going to see some bigger moves in terms of what happens with the content guys. Viacom, CBS particularly, major disruption still lies ahead.
Yeah. I mean, in recent years, we've seen an awful lot about the massive rise of video. I mean, there's been research report after report about just how video is exploding. Then suddenly this year, we've seen some things that say it's starting to slow a little bit. How do you see that? I mean, some of these major global sporting events, for example, the Winter Olympics, the World Cup, some of these things going on. Do you really think video is slowing, or is the demand just getting...
No, I don't see video slowing, and I'm sure Matt's got some wonderful stats he can share us in terms of the usage of people accessing live sport on the go, on their devices, whether that's over BT Fibre or EE 4G. But people's insatiable appetite for data is showing no signs of easing up. And then obviously, if you look at what's been done with video today, whether it's HDR to mobile or 4K into the living room, this World Cup Cup, we've already got tons of 4K HDR streams, virtual reality as well to mobile devices. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's not easing up. And, you know, events like the World Cup, the Olympics, you know, just reinforce the importance of particularly technology and the fusion of media and telecoms coming closer together.
Yeah. So let's talk, Jean, we'll come to you on the more of the OTT side in a minute, but let's just talk about, follow up from what Paolo was saying about the massive growth of video. What kind of spikes in traffic are you seeing around particularly these global sporting events, but also just the sheer insatiable demand for video from viewers?
Yeah, I think, and touching on the point that Paolo made about video slowing, if you look, you know, not slowing down, if you look at now you have with mobile and devices, actually more people can watch the content. So, you know, World Cup before smartphones, you had to be in to watch it. Now, you know, you can watch it, and we see that. So last night, we just got the stats in from the guys that work at our place, and there was over 50,000 concurrent views. And bearing in mind that, you know, people, you know, if you take into what you want to do at sports, you want to be at the stadium. If you can't be in the stadium, you want to be in front of a big screen. But if you can't, you will watch it on the go. You know, you've got the social interaction, the social media interaction. You don't want spoilers, and you want to be there in the moment. And obviously, you know, that type of peak is challenging on a mobile network. You know, they're only scaled to a normal busy hour. So it's why we're looking at new technologies, so how we can make sure that the customers can have a great experience with the network.
So I guess you're talking, just to give the viewers some context there, you're talking about a major England game last night in the World Cup.
Yeah.
But obviously that's going on internationally. So, you know, in Russia we must be seeing similar sort of massive levels, and all of the other countries, not necessarily those that are involved in it, but certainly in...
I don't think you see much usage in Italy, but...
Well,
Holland maybe.
Yeah, or Holland, yeah. But, you know, it's been such an open World Cup.
Yeah.
And one thing I would say, just on that point, BBC released some great stats in terms of the group stages games of people tuning in either on a big TV or across different screens via iPlayer, and the interest in the non-England games has been absolutely phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
So I think it just goes to show how global sport just generally, and a sport that's doing really well, that's exciting and very open, how it can just transcend through every single demographic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's come back to sport, because I think there are some really interesting questions around rights and those kind of things, but also around the new technologies, VR, etc., that are being used in sport. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, other issues of relevance to the operators. Do you Christian? Obviously, you're with Three. You have a sort of an offering, which is called Go Binge, I think, isn't it? Which is around giving viewers and giving your customers access to sort of all-you-can-eat OTT kind of offerings. How's that service going for you guys?
Yeah, so Three has consistently tried to innovate in the area of data usage. We were the first mobile network to offer unlimited data on a postpaid tariff, and just over a year ago we launched Go Binge with a range of content providers, including Netflix, Deezer and SoundCloud. And they're hugely popular. It means that on those tariffs you can have unlimited access to those services for your data bundles. So we know they're very popular because our customers, around 10 or 11 million subscribers, consume over 40% of the UK's mobile data. So we punch above our weight massively in terms of the data consumption and the apps which our customers have. So there's massive demand among the Three customers for services like that.
Yeah. Do you think that's the way to go for operators, or is this uniquely a Three sort of strategy in terms of partnering, almost outsourcing with those players and providing that as part of a bundle package? Do you think operators are going to be in the content game a little bit more actively in terms of creation and curation?
So mobile operators have been in the content game for a long time, but I think 10, 15 years ago it was an interesting option. I think now it's an imperative because it's a consolidated industry. It's become very price driven, so there's more of a need for differentiation. 10 or 15 years ago, of course, if I would been in 3 then, I would be talking about 3 music, 3 video, 3 this, 3 that. The difference now is that there are established storefronts and brands that are already producing amazing original content and already have significant sway in the market. So it doesn't make sense for companies like us to try to recreate or compete directly with those types of partners. It's much smarter to work with them and then create compelling experiences for the customer. But I would also just say that there's also a significant role for curation and for companies who are trying to innovate in that space as well. There's a significant value-added layer in the areas, for example, that Gene's responsible for, where you're actually producing innovative content formats, as well as the very large global players that produce premium subscription content.
Yeah.